Hey guys, so I get a lot of people commenting that they get back pain from rowing, and it varies from distance to distance. I also get people saying that back pain goes away with rowing. Now there's a lot of different reasons that could happen, but there's also a lot of reasons you could get back pain with rowing. So I want to talk about some of those things today in this video. So if you are a person who gets back pain from rowing, one of the first things to pay attention to is your form on the rowing machine. The reason I say that is because there are a lot of things you can do on the rowing machine to put extra stress on your back. If you are doing those things, then your back is likely to get aggravated. If you already have symptoms and then you go on the rowing machine and they get worse, it's likely that you may not be doing things in very bad form, but if you're just slightly off, it might be enough to aggravate the issue that's already there. So that's another thing to consider as well. So one of the things that can happen on the rowing machine is starting from your sitting position. When you get on that rowing machine, do you just sit down or do you adjust things? If you get down and you don't adjust anything, the first thing I want you to do is check out my video on the foot plate and how you should move that. There's a link that'll be at the end of this video on that, but definitely check that out. The next thing I want you to work on is your setup for your butt. So if I get on this rowing machine and I sit down, I put my feet in, I grab the handle, and I just go. What's likely happening is my butt is not in a good position. Now I have a video explaining this a little bit more in depth as well, but essentially your pelvis rotates back and forth. Your pelvis is your butt and your hips kind of area. So what I want to do is actually change the position that I am when I'm sitting on here. So if I stay like this, when I get into the front position, sorry, it's like 10 degrees outside, but if you can see, my back is really rounded. Now, it's really hard, I'm really rounded, it's hard for me to get forward, so if you look at my shoulders and my hips, they're pretty close to being in line with each other. My shoulders are a little bit in front of my hips, but not much. So if that's the position you're in, you want to start by changing your butt position. Now people will say, I have tight hamstrings, I can't get there. Well, I'm gonna give you a test for that. So take your hand, so the way that I like to do this is leaning forward, and you'll see that my butt comes up a little bit, and then I get in a good position. Another option is take your hand, lift your butt up, and so forth. Sometimes that puts people a little bit too forward, so just find a position that's kind of comfortable for you. But that's two different ways that you can get the same thing. Now, with your legs straight, can you bend forward? If you can, your hamstrings are good. If you cannot, then you have tight hamstrings and we should work on that. But sitting up nice and tall, if I think of a clock up towards the ceiling is noon, 11 o'clock, and 1 o'clock. My trunk is gonna go back and forth between 11 and 1. 11, 1. Now, because I got myself in that good butt position, when I'm up here, now I can get to that 11 o'clock. My shoulders are more in front of my hips, and I'm not as rounded. So I've immediately improved the postural position for my back, which means I've relieved some of the strain on my back. So that's the first thing. Second, when you're in the catch position, are you leaning forward? If you are and you're really, really rounded in the back, sit up nice and tall and don't go as far forward. That's the next thing, because the more I'm rounding, the more stress I'm putting on my back. So sitting up nice and tall at the catch position. The next thing with that is put your shoulders back and down. So you want your shoulders to be really connected with your body. But if you're sitting up tall, it usually ends up fixing that, but not always. So then what you're gonna do is push with your legs, bring your core back to that 1 o'clock position, and bring your arms in. I have another video as well that's about rowing form. So if you're not familiar with these 3 steps, check that out. But come all the way to the back. If you are leaning way far back here, you're putting more strain on your back. It's really hard for me to hold this position. My core goes, my back starts to arch, I start to feel everything working. Ugh. Now I have to pull myself out of that position. So if you go too far back, you're doing that repeatedly. If I do 1,000 meters, that's like 100 rows. I've now done that 100 times. That's putting a lot of stress on your low back. So when you get down to here, you want to think, how far on that clock am I? If you're at about 1 o'clock, awesome. Okay, so that's the next thing. When you're at the front, there's a few things that some people can do that can also put extra stress on their back. The first one is, I call it butts out. People usually say push with your legs, and this is what happens. They shoot their butt out. I've also heard that it's called shooting the slide. I call it butts out. So sticking your butt out is going to put me, look at my trunk, I'm no longer at 11 o'clock, now I'm closer to 10 o'clock. So now I've left that position. I want to be more upright. So when you're pushing, I want you to keep your core tight and bring your arms with you. Don't let that position of your trunk change. So you're just gonna move like this as one whole component instead of just my butt back. It's not a very comfortable position to get into, and if you have tight hamstrings, it's not gonna like you. And if you already have sciatica, it's gonna like you even less. So those are some things that you can pay attention to. The other part that people often do is they lead with their shoulders. So this usually happens from people rounding. So if you're sitting upright, sometimes this fixes it, but some people will push and they'll open their hips up really early and get back here, and then they go the rest of the way. So they lead, I call it leading with the shoulders, like that. So I want you to think that your shoulders should be in front of your hip all the way until your knees are straight. Once your knees are straight, then you can go back. On the way forward, my shoulders are back. Now I'm going to bring them front and then go. So if I combine it, if I combine it all together, I get knees, core back, arms, core, legs. So those are the common things that I see people do who have back pain when it comes to rowing. Those are the most common things that happen. So paying attention to those can really help you out if you've got some back pain going. So please, if you want, send me a video with a little clip of you from the side like this. Let's figure it out. But rowing should not cause back pain. So please, if it is, check your form. Even if someone has told you that your form is great in a class, 1, check what their training is, and 2, over time, your mechanics might change. For instance, I will use me as an example. I did not row on the rowing machine for almost 3 years while I was in grad school. Once I got back on the rower, I was doing the shoulder first movement, and I was like, why is my back starting to hurt? I don't have back pain. Voila. I recorded myself. I figured it out. I even posted it in my Facebook group, correcting myself and saying, I did this. This is what I'm going to do to fix it. So even if you've rowed for a long time, it is possible that after some break or as you get tired maybe, your form will change. It's like when we run. I'm not going to look as amazing. Well, I don't run, so I don't look amazing running. But I'm not going to be as perfect with my form at the beginning as I'm going to be at the end when I'm more tired. And that just makes sense, right? So paying attention to those things, even if you've heard you have great form, if you're getting back pain, please have someone look at your form again. If it's happening when you're tired, have them look at it when you're tired. If it's happening at a certain distance, have them watch you with that distance. What is changing? Because something is probably happening. So please, if you have back pain, reach out. I'd love to help you with it. But you should not be having back pain with the rower. Please have somebody help you if you are, because this is an amazing machine and an amazing tool. And I really hope that you can continue to use it, because I love it. And clearly you like it if you're rowing. So yeah. All right. Chat soon.
Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I put new things out weekly so you can get new information. You can also join the Keep Rowing Longer Facebook group, where you can ask your questions and get your questions answered quickly. So if you're interested in that, I'd love to see you there. There's a link in that description below, and I hope to see you there and chat soon.